Page 117.
117.
117.
Oh, 117. I'm sorry.
So this week's parsha is Vayera. I'm sorry, Vayera. What did I punch in here? I punched in Vayera by mistake. I'll have to edit that. Okay. No, I did it right. No, Vayera. Sorry. Okay, I added to that too. The parsha, there's another parsha, Shemot Vayera. So I typed in the wrong thing. Okay, so he starts off with the opening verse, but the title that's given over here is Me'ever l'Shemot, Me'ever l'Yediyah. Beyond names, beyond names, beyond knowledge. Okay. Beyond, so Vayera elav Hashem be'elonei Mamre. The Torah says God appeared to him in the plains of Mamre. Question is, Madua HaTorah einena maskira et shmo shel Avraham? Why doesn't the Torah mention Abraham's name? Why does it say God appeared to him? It says he appeared to him, right? It would make sense to say he. You have another book? Come on, there's room up here, there's room over there. Okay, come sit on this one. What is your name? Michal. Malka, right? So, come sit down. So the Torah says, Vayera elav Hashem, page 117. Everybody has the book? So why does it say God appeared to him? Why doesn't it say Vayera Hashem el Avraham? כדי להבין את זה צריך to show, so to understand the question, or to understand what the answer is going to be, we need to ask first, l'shem ma ani zakuk l'shem? Why, in general, what do I need a name for? If I was the only person in the world, lo hayiti zakuk l'shem klal, I wouldn't need a name at all, right? אני צריך שם רק מפני שיש אנשים נוספים בעולם מלבדי. So I need a name because there are other people besides myself, right? לפעמים אני קורא למישהו בשמו כי הוא רחוק ואני רוצה למשוך את תשומת ליבו. Sometimes I call someone by his name because he's far away and I want to get his attention. זו מדרגה אחת של שימוש בשם. This is one level of use of name usage. לפעמים אני כל כך אוהב אדם, but sometimes I love a person so much שאינני מסוגל להפסיק לבטא את שמו, that I'm not able to interrupt by saying his name. זה כל כך עמוק. It is so deep. What does that mean?
It's like when you just meet somebody, you meet them for the first time and their name is unusual or you haven't heard the name for a long time, and all of a sudden it starts popping up everywhere.
The name.
The name. You start seeing that name everywhere you are because you're more attached
but what does
to
he mean
person.
but what does he mean when he says Sheineni mesugal lafsik levatei shmo? In other words, I'm so close to this person, or I love this person so much that
when someone's important in your life, you keep talking about them and mentioning them. And
no, but he's saying I can't say their name. He's saying I cannot say their name. Oh, you don't have a book. That's why. Look inside. Sheineni mesugal levatei shmo. If you see, is there another one? I don't think so. Look down. There should be another one.
There's 7, 8. There's 8 books.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're fine. Okay. So sometimes you're just so close with someone and you're talking to them, you're already so connected that saying their name would be somewhat of an interruption. That's what he's saying. In other words, we're already. I'm talking to you, right? And if I say I'm talking to Ezra, it's sort of like it's like formalizing it in some kind of a way that sort of interrupts between one and the other, right? So let's take, for example, yes, sir. Okay, right?
Do you think also maybe
it's like saying, don't just talk to me. Remember that I am sir, right? Remember that I am this category. Remember that I'm this person. Okay.
Is it possible it's also a form of yirah? Like we don't say Hashem's name. We can't say Hashem's full name.
There's all kinds of possibilities. I'm not denying that it's possible. There's no
because
question.
Of respect to something.
Right. Okay. But the name, in other words, so there's a time when the name is the way with, like you're getting the person's attention, right? And then there's a time when the name can be sort of like a bit of a block between very direct communication.
Block or a link?
Well, it could be both. That's what he's saying. Okay? In other words, it could be a link, or it could be sort of like the example that I gave, there were people that we were raised that we were always to address them by their title, by their name and their title, right? It's sort of like you're addressing this person in this particular framework, right? It's formal. Title? It's formal, right? Yeah.
Like when you're younger and it's like, oh, that's more.
Yeah. It's formal,
but also like
right?
Formality.
It's a connection, but it's a formalized connection, so it's sort of limiting a little bit, right?
It creates boundaries.
Right. אבל יש עמוק מזה, but there's something even deeper. המקום הכי עמוק שאליו אדם יכול להגיע, the deepest place that one can get to, הוא המקום שמעבר לשמות, is the place which is beyond names. Okay? שם אני מחובר לאחר חיבור עצמי. There I'm connected to that person in a very essential bond. מעבר לבחירה, it's beyond choice. He's saying a lot in this sentence. Let's just finish reading a couple more sentences. So long as I'm connected with another person on the level of names alone, so one day we might actually stop calling one another. We might stop being bound to one another. Right? In other words, so a name is also a formality of some sort. Okay? And then there's being connected beyond names. I'm connected to you. Even I might not even know your name, or I might know your name, but the name is not relevant. It's just that the connection is there. It's there in a very, very strong way, right? So long as I'm connected with you on the level of names, right? So the connection is formal, for better or for worse, but it is formal, okay? And then that could come to an end. But if you're actually connected with someone without the formality of a name, the connection is obviously a much deeper connection. Okay? Say, for example, a child is born. A child doesn't get the name right away on the first day. I mean, he could, okay? So the mother is already relating with the child before the child has a name, right? What kind of connection is that? It's a very deep connection. It's not, right? And you don't need the child's name to relate with them, right? But then when the child gets a name and the child grows up, and if you start relating just via the name, the things can change. The connection might not be the same afterwards. Okay? So זה הגילוי שזכה לו אברהם אבינו בתחילת הפרשה. This is what Abraham Avinu merited. This is the kind of revelation that Abraham Avinu merited at the beginning of the parsha when it says, "Vamilim vayera elav Hashem," God appeared to him. לאחר שנכנס אברהם אבינו לברית עם השם, once Abraham Avinu entered the covenant with God, Hashem גילה לו שהברית היא מקום של מעבר לשמות, מעבר לבחירה. That means that God revealed to him that the covenant is such that it's beyond names, it's beyond choice. Vayera elav. There's a deep connection directly to him, regardless of names. Okay, so you can think about that a little bit more, and but the next passage is going to explain that a bit better. Okay, בתחילת פרשת וירא, at the beginning of the parsha, Abraham Avinu experienced את גילוי האלוקות הכי עצום שאפשר. He experienced the most powerful revelation of God that is possible. אבל שימו לב כמה זה עמוק. See how deep this is. Hashem לא אמר לו שום דבר. God didn't actually come and tell him anything, right? You read the parsha, it says God appeared to him. Doesn't say that he said anything, right? Then all of a sudden he sees the three strangers on the horizon, and he says, "Excuse me, Hashem," and he wants to take care of the three strangers, right? From this story, we learn that Hachnasat Orchim is greater than receiving the Shekhinah. Okay, now what happened there? Right? The Torah doesn't tell us. It just says, Rashi says that God came to do Bikur Cholim. God came to visit the sick. Right? It was the third day after his circumcision, and that he's not. Thank you. And he's not. The third day after surgery is the most difficult day. And God is coming to visit him. But what's happening during that visit? He's just being there with him. He's just present, right? It's a revelation. See, when let's say I call you up and I say, can you please do this and this, or can you? So then I'm revealing something about what I want, right? Can you please take care of this? Okay. So I'm revealing something about what I would like you to do. I'm not revealing myself. I might be present in the words that I'm saying. I might not be so present in the words that I'm saying, but still it's just like I say, it's a very contained revelation. I would like you to do this. Or, hi, how are you? Okay? But when there's nothing being said, there's no instruction being given, and you're just there with the other, it's a very, very deep revelation of you being present. I once went to the home of Reb Meir Becerra, Oliver Shalom in Montreal. It was for a Hilula, for the yahrzeit of one of his ancestors, I guess, one of the big Sephardi rabbis. And people were coming in. There were chairs all around. People came in and sat down, and nobody is saying a word. And I found this very strange at first. Like, people just came in, they sat down, nobody's talking. And then at some point, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes later, I don't know how everybody knew at what point, but at some point, everybody started talking. Like, hi, how are you? Da-da-da, 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 right? So what were those first 15, 20 minutes? I realized those first 15, 20 minutes were just about come in, be here. Just be present, right? If you're already saying, oh, haven't seen you since da-da-da-da, I haven't, what's doing, how's school, how's this, how's that? It's not really being so completely present, right? Just to be present without talking is a lot deeper than to be present with talking.
Yeah, like my best friends are those that I could sit on like a 2-hour bus ride with and not say anything.
And you don't have to talk.
Yeah, and you feel like
you're just there together with each other, right?
It's no less of a connection.
It's even more.
Yeah.
It's even more. To be able to, like people think that, that if we're not talking, we're not connecting. That may be the case. That might be the case, right? Like this guy went out with a girl and he comes back and he says, she didn't talk, Okay, so in some situations, not talking is like, I'm not communicating, right? But communicating, being present without actually talking is a very, very deep, it's a very deep connection. I am here with you.
It's a good activity to do with groups as an icebreaker. Talking about that, Mayor Abu Khatara's granddaughter was one of my students on the gap year program. So she was telling me lots of his stories.
Yeah.
Very connected.
What was your last name?
Abu Khatara.
Abu Khatara. So, התורה העליונה איננה התורה שבכתב. The highest Torah is not the written Torah, שבה השם מדבר אליי, in which God is speaking to me. לא על התורה שבכתב קראת השם ברית עם ישראל. It's not over the written Torah that God made the covenant. הברית בינינו לבין השם נכרתה על התורה שבעל פה. The covenant between us and God is about the oral Torah. Now, I don't know the source of this right now, but let's just take that. I'll explain it in a minute. Avraham Avinu, until he entered the covenant, God told him exactly what to do. That was before he entered the covenant. Once he entered into the covenant, he merited that the Torah would now flow from him. Zohi HaTorah Shebal Peh, Shehi Harbe Yoter Elyona. That's the idea of Torah Shebal Peh, and that's much higher. Okay, so the written Torah tells you pretty specifically, do this, do this, do this, do this, right? And we have the oral Torah, right? Like most of the books in this room, the vast majority are all based on the oral tradition. Okay, but the Chumash itself is a relatively small book. It's got less than 6,000 verses in it. The entire Chumash. Okay, and so what is the oral Torah? The oral Torah is our interaction with the written Torah in such a way that we understand what God wants us to do in those situations that are not clearly spelled out. Right? So which is a deeper connection? The oral Torah or the written Torah?
I think you need one. You can't have one without the other.
That's for sure. Which is the deeper connection with Hashem?
The one that's not written down.
The one that's not written
That's
down.
like calling someone not by his name.
Right? It's the one that's not written down. In other words, you're so connected that Hashem is giving you the ability to understand and to figure out what He wants in those situations which were not clear, which were not clearly spelled out. Right?
It's like understanding something from the situation you're in. You can't, like, going back and looking at the halakhas that were written down, that's nice, but when you have it coming to you as, okay, you're in this situation, how are you going to work? Are you going to go according to the books, or are you going to go according to what's right at that moment?
It means that you have to have internalized the relationship in a much deeper way. Okay? Somebody's at the door.
Should we do that?
I don't think so. Oh, she is. Yeah. Okay, page 118. Vikan. So now, okay, Vikan, the parshat Vayera. So here in parshat Vayera, Matchila Lahafia HaTorah, the Torah is beginning to. Okay. וכאן בתחילת פרשת וירא, here at the beginning of פרשת וירא, מתחילה להופיע התורה שבעל פה. So the Torah שבעל פה is beginning to, the Torah שבעל פה is now beginning to manifest. הרי בשום מקום לא כתוב בתורה איך לקבל אורחים. Nowhere does the Torah tell us how to receive guests. עכשיו אפשר להתחיל להבין איזו תורה שבעל פה מופלאה הוריד אברהם אבינו לעולם. Right? So Abraham Avinu is having this communion with God, and all of a sudden 3 guests show up. Now we learn from Abraham Avinu that this teaches us that welcoming the guests is greater than welcoming the Shekhinah. Okay, but how did Abraham Avinu know that? How did he know that, right? He didn't have a book from which to learn that, right? Not really answering the question right now. I'm just illustrating the point that's being made, and it is that this is already Torah Shebal Peh. This is already the oral tradition, right? And right, so that's an amazing thing. So he says, "Pitchu et sharei halev l'inyan haba." Now open your hearts to the following matter. הפתיחה של פרשת הגילוי האלוקי הגבוה והמופלא ביותר. So the revelation. What's the problem? So Pshat Vayera is the highest, most amazing. כזה שאדם יודע ולא יודע אותו. נוגע ולא נוגע. In other words, it's so high that you're aware of it and you're not aware of it. Is you're touching it, you're not touching it. Hashem gilal Avraham amok amok b'libo mihu be'emet. God revealed to Avraham deep in his heart who he really is. Hazohar HaKadosh, again, that was another sentence that we're going to have to try to understand, okay? Hazohar HaKadosh masbir madua Hashem nira el Avraham v'lo diber ito. The Holy Zohar explains, why did God appear to Abraham and did not speak to him? It's because it was a much deeper revelation. At that moment, Hashem gilal Avraham Avinu ma pirush lahamin. God revealed to Abraham what it means to believe, ma pirush liot Yehudi, and what it means to be a Jew. Uma haTorah be'emet rotza mimeni, and what does the Torah really want from me? Omek ha'omakim hazeh shenitgaleh lo, and the depth of what was being revealed to him then, at that time, hu me'ever lemilim, is beyond words. Now he's going to explain this further. Right? So what's being said? What's being said is that the revelation that took place now is a greater revelation than what is revealed through words. Right? Your name is Wendy? No. What? Yes?
He says, yes, it is.
Right? You've had many occasions in your life where people said something to you, but you understand that there's something else that's really being said. Right?
Yeah.
Like everybody else.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You sort of listen to what's not being said, right? You're listening to what's behind the words. So, okay, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So here there were no words. So there was something very, very deep being revealed. There were no words because it was beyond words. Avraham Avinu ichnis min astam ochim gam lifnei shenichnas b'britim Hashem. As we know from the Medrash, Avraham Avinu always was welcoming guests, even before he became a Jew. Aval rak achshav, but only now, acharei habrit, only now after the covenant, gilal lo Hashem, ech be'emet machnisim ochim. Only now did God reveal to Abraham how you are really meant to receive guests.
I have a question.
Acharei she'Hashem yigaleh davar kazeh, and after God revealed something like that, you can't rest even for a moment. I'm running around looking for guests. Where are my guests? Just like, for example, if I had an opportunity to make a fortune, I would run to take advantage of it, right? I wouldn't pay any attention to how hard it is outside. This is what the revelation that's taking place at the beginning. This is the revelation that's taking place at the beginning of Parshat Vayera. A revelation that is beyond knowledge, deeper than knowledge. This is already the aspect of Torah Shebal Peh. Okay, so what Reb Shlomo is referring to over here is this. This is one of the rare cases in the Torah where the Torah tells you what the weather was like. Right? Vayera elav Hashem. God appeared to Abraham. He's sitting at the entrance of his tent. Kechom hayom, in the heat of the day. Right? Now, in the heat of the day, right here in Elonei Mamre, right near to Hebron, right? In the heat of the day, it's like really good and hot, right? Why is he sitting outside? Why isn't he in the shade? Right? So Rashi says he's sitting outside because he's looking for guests, right? He's looking for guests. Well, why is he looking for guests? It's one thing, like, if somebody comes to your tent and knocks on the canvas and says to me, I come in, that's one thing. But why is he sitting outside looking for guests? There's nothing else to do. Why is he sitting outside looking for guests? So what's Reb Shlomo saying over here, according to the Zohar? Why is he doing that? Because now he has like this amazing, deep understanding of what it means to bring guests into your home. Right? He's understanding that in a way which is much, much deeper than any way that he understood it before. And because, in other words, his relationship with Hashem has gotten so much deeper that he realizes, I can't just sit inside and wait for somebody to show up. I got to run out and look for. In other words, there's not this. This is such a great thing. I got to go run out and look for it, right? And to use the parable that he was giving, so somebody shows up and says, "Hey, you want to buy this diamond? Okay, okay, look at it. I can do something great with it, and so on. That's wonderful." But when you already have you know that how precious these gems are, and you hear that yonder over there on the other side of the mountain, you can find a bunch more of them, you're going to run to go and get them, right? So it's thanks to that deep revelation it's because of that deep revelation of his relationship with Hashem, which has gotten so much deeper now, that he realizes that he has a deeper understanding of how precious it is to welcome guests into your home. Has he?
Just about before, like a message was passed on to Abraham. Even though Hashem didn't say anything, he received an understanding from Hashem. So isn't that like
but not in words.
Not in words, but it's like we learned in Tanya and several times that you said it's like a microchip. Doesn't matter how it was passed on.
No, but it wasn't. I'm not right. You're talking about the technology now. We're not talking about the technology. In other words, when I say not in words, I'm not talking about the technology. What I'm saying is that Hashem's reality took on a whole other level. Okay? And because of that, right, he's sitting outside his tent. The way Reb Shlomo is reading the verse right now is Vayera Elav Hashem, God appeared to him. He may have been sitting inside the tent, but no, he's going out. Without Hashem telling him, go sit in the heat. Right? It's because he's got that deeper connection with Hashem right now. Therefore, he can't wait to find the guest.
It's like taking initiative without being told what to do.
Right.
Like the best worker is someone that the boss doesn't need to say do this, that, and a whole list. He does it, and
he understands. And it's even beyond that, right? Because there you already,
I'm trying to understand this point a little bit more. If I understand correctly, Hashem appears to Abraham in some way, without words, and this empowers Abraham to have it come from within himself. Somehow it informs his whole personality. So his personality becomes a God-like type of person with
very well understood.
The quality
you understood. You understood. You understood it very well. Yeah.
Right. Like without any empirical action on Hashem's part.
Right. Well, Hashem's empirical.
Empirical may not.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Whatever. The fact that there was no
right.
Like
no actual direct verbalized.
Like even on a very
there's no
basic
verbalized
level.
Message. Right?
But even on a basic level, I could see a sign, walk the street and I could see a sign, and I could be like, "Oh, that's a sign from Hashem." But it didn't even get to that point. It was before that.
This is very ironic. The word milah. He just had a brit milah,
Yeah. That's
And he's learning that there's something beyond the milah. Because the milah is cut. The word milah comes from cut. And when you cut off a thought, just thoughts can go through your head, but unless you define them in words, then you can't really work with them as a human being.
right.
So milah is a cut.
Well, milah, the word milah itself is
very
called.
limiting.
That's right. That's the meaning of define.
It's not on a physical level. It just occurred to me as well. It's not on.
What's happening here? What do you mean?
Avram has.
Well, what do you mean not physical? You mean something deeper than intelligence? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's a deeper because obviously through.
Look,
He understands Hashem.
You've met. I'm guessing, but I imagine that you've had encounters with people where you didn't actually speak with them, but it was something that was life-changing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's right.
Right? That's what cerebral is. I don't know if that's the word, but something like touches the core of your being.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, I couldn't understand what this was talking about. And just.
But now you're getting it.
Listening, and it just occurred to me that's what he was.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's talking about Avram going out. So Avram is no longer. He does what he has to do, but that is not his main thing. The thing is, he does what he does.
Because there's a change that's taken place in him.
Yes, but now he's going out, which means he's looking out around him what the instance is, so that he's there to act on it.
To manifest, yes.
To manifest it.
Maybe I'm looking too far and I don't know the words of the actual pasuk. When it says that he appears to him, does it say the word that he goes out, or is it saying he appears to him when he's sitting?
No, it says the Yoshev Petach HaOhel. Now, the pasuk doesn't indicate that first Hashem appears to him and then he goes out, sits down outside, right? He's sitting outside, right? But what Reb Shlomo is saying is that
he's creating.
It's already from the covenant itself. It's from the bris that, right? Because he entered into that covenant, he has a servant. He has Eliezer. He can tell Eliezer, go out, find some guests, or go and serve them, right? But he himself is running. The word running it appears a few times in this passage, right? He rushes, he runs, he rushes, he runs. You understand? So why? Like, why? What's compelling you, right? What's compelling you to run? What's compelling you that you yourself should run after the guests? You're 99 years old. When you go check into a hotel, you need the president of the hotel to come and give you a room. The clerk can give you a room, right?
I don't think Avram had clerks working at his hotel.
Avram was a very wealthy man. But you know what I mean? He has Eliezer. Like his right hand man. Avram could be and he can be sitting and meditating and talking with Hashem, and he's already taken care of. That the Eliezer, this is what you do when you see people, and this is how you should serve them. The mitzvah would count as his mitzvah anyway, right?
It feels like it's a direct
It
learning.
doesn't feel like the Avram mentality, the Avram spirit.
So that's the whole point. Where is it coming from?
It feels like he's learning it directly from Hashem.
Yeah.
Hashem created the world, and the fact that he brought us here, it's a form of Haknasat Orfim. This is Hashem's world. This is his home, even though he's everywhere beyond. He's bringing us in, and the fact that Hashem came down to be with Abraham learned that he has.
So now you're really big, right? We have the mitzvah ulidafka bo, dalit bet kuf, to bond with God, right? we're told to bond with God. It says, how can you bond with God? It says that God is a consuming fire. How do you bond? So just like God is compassionate, you to be compassionate. Just like He does hachtasat rachim, you to do hachtasat rachim, etc., etc. Right? And that's the thing is to realize the greatest honor is that Hashem allows you to do for others that which He does for you. Right? And that's how you bond with Hashem. Yeah.
The beginning when Hashem tells him to go for
Yeah.
He said to Hashem, to Abraham, be a bracha.
You will be.
You will be a blessing.
You will be. Yeah, that's part of the gift that he gets. Yeah.
So I think this is what's happening here.
Yeah.
He's becoming
Yeah.
the bracha. He's embodying just we bless Hashem. Hashem is the bracha.
Yeah. There the pshat is that Hashem is giving him the power to bless. Okay, Yitzchak Avinu v'hala. From Yitzchak and on, right? From Yitzchak Avinu and on, Hischil davar chadash, something new began, amok miyadiyah, deeper than knowledge. Ketzad yodim yilhovim shalahem. How do children know who their parents are? What would be if children would not know who their parents are until age 20? Or until they would learn biology, or read books about marriage. And then they would suddenly meet their parents. How much would they love them? Ma'at ma'od, in bichlal. They would have very little love for them, if at all. Right? Children know who their parents are in a very deep way. Beyond intellect. אנחנו צריכים להתפלל שגם אחרי שהילדים שלנו ידעו איך נולדים ילדים, we have to pray that even after children find out how children are born, לא תיפגע אצלם הידיעה העמוקה הזו, that this deep knowledge of who their parents are should not be affected by it. Right? The kibbutzim, the early kibbutzim over here, when they started, for years, children were not raised by their parents. They would see their parents for a half an hour a day or something like that, and so on. Bruno Bettelheim wrote a whole book about it, and that this was like a major experiment in relationships, but it failed. It failed. There may have been like a real economic need for it at the time, everybody had to be working, and it was more efficient that the kids should all be in one house, be raised by a couple of people, and then they would see their parents at mealtime or something like that. Eventually, the kibbutzim realized that something is not right; it's not natural, and parents would take their kids home for a couple of hours a day, but still they wouldn't sleep at home, right? Then they pretty much cut that out altogether. Right. So if I were to ask any one of you, is your father or mother your father and mother because you can tell me biologically how come they came to be your parents, or are they your parents even if even though you know the biology of it? Right? They're your parents, right? Hopefully because you know that this is my father, this is my mother, not just because biologically they happen to have gotten together, right? In other words, there's something much deeper going on here It's not the biology is the technicality of how it took place, but the fact that this is my father, this is my mother, is something much deeper than the technology of it. What did you want to
And
say?
sometimes the father and mother might be adopted also.
Yes, it's possible. True. And in fact, that's why the Talmud says that at one point in the Chumash it refers to Aaron's children as Moshe's children. It refers to Aaron's Kohen's children as Moshe's children as well. And the Talmud explains why, because he educated them. He was, understand? So who is your real father? Is it your biological father, or is it the one who gives you your education? Right? Who's your real mother? Is it the one who gave birth to you, or is it the one who raised you to be what you are? It's actually a shaila in halacha too. You understand? It's a halachic question as well. What?
It isn't in the Talmud, it's in the Mishnah Torah that the person who raises you.
No, the Mishnah Torah is taken from the Talmud. Okay, the way the Talmud puts it is that your biological parents brought you into this world. Your spiritual parents are bringing you to the next world. Okay? And I remember one of the difficult Mishnayot that when I was teaching back in grade 9, one of the kids was having a lot of trouble with this particular Mishnah. The Mishnah says if your father lost something and your teacher lost something, and you only have time to go and find one of them, whose Aveda do you go to look for first? What?
I don't know.
So we're talking about your most special teacher right now. So it will be, unless your father also taught you Torah, you are obligated to go and help your teacher first. If you have enough money to ransom either your father or your teacher, whom do you ransom? It's not easy, huh? But that's because it's not easy because you have that relationship with your father as well. That your father taught you, your father gave you the personality, helps you become the personality that you are, etc. Right? But if your father was just your father, just biologically, right, you wouldn't have trouble with that Mishnah, right? Who does a test tube baby owe respect to? The donor or a test tube baby?
Wow.
Whom are they going to be? Do they have to honor their donor, right?
No.
I mean, I'm giving an extreme example now, right? I'm giving an extreme example, but tragically, there are kids in the world whose father and or mother are nothing more than the machinery that they came into the world with, right?
And everybody could see that towards Hashem being the father, and us doing the Torah because we're looking for an Aveda that we lost, and we're going searching for our father's Aveda, our teachers.
Yeah. Okay. So, right. So in halacha, for example, the question appears in a very tragic situation. For example, there are tragically kids who have abusive parents, right? Do they still owe their father and mother respect?
Yeah.
And what do you say? What?
I don't know. I guess so. I suppose it depends how abusive, maybe.
Well,
I remember that.
That would make a difference, of course. What?
I remember that there was a way that a child doesn't need to sit shiva on a parent.
I had that question a couple of years ago. This woman called up and said that she doesn't want to sit shiva for her father because he abused her. And she wanted to know, does she have to sit shiva?
I think I remember it being one of those cases that you have to look at that specific case.
Well, you can't make a generalization over here. In her particular case, in other words, the ruling was that the laws of Shiva are not meant to cause her more suffering, But in vis-a-vis the child, you're still obligated to respect the parent, but it might be from a distance of a few hundred miles.
So
You know what I mean?
Say that she didn't, but they
No,
didn't.
she didn't have to sit Shiva. But what I'm saying is that in the case of the child, right? So maybe the child will have to send a birthday card or something like that. Some way of recognizing. Yes, I recognize you're my father or you're my mother, but I don't. The Torah doesn't obligate the child to go home and be beaten, by a drunk father.
I heard a psak once that someone asked about this. They didn't have a relationship with their parents, and said the fachot, like you can't publicly embarrass them.
Oh, that's for sure. You can't publicly embarrass. Yeah, for sure not. In any situation, right? I mean, but it's so in terms of, I mean, we're going to continue tomorrow, musician, but in terms of what we're learning right now is that he only started this next passage here. You can know intellectually that there's a God. Okay? You might be one of those scientists that doesn't just go with the Big Bang Theory, okay? The world didn't just come into being, okay? So good. So you say, yeah, there's a God. Does that mean that you have a relationship with him? No. Right? It was so amazing last week when there was when Sylvia was here and she said something. Were you here? And she said, like,
Oh yeah.
every time I talk about God, like, like it's just intellectual. And Shira was sitting there and Shira said, that's the problem. You're looking up, learn to see Hashem's presence in your life, not just as being distant from you, right? So that's right. Discovering Hashem within yourself is something that requires concentrated effort and time, and then sometimes, like Hashem imposes it upon us, and we discover it that way. But and I don't know if I made it, if I mentioned this quote last week, but the Chidushei Harim, one of the early Hasidic masters, said, if you're not in touch with your true essence, with your what's called in Hebrew, with your nekudat pnimit, with your essence point within yourself, the Yetzer Hara doesn't care if you have a beard, if you have payas, if you're wearing a shtreimel, if you're wearing 5 wigs, if your skirt is down to your ankles. The Yetzer Hara won't bother you. It won't tell you to take off your shtreimel, won't tell you to take off your wig, because it's meaningless. In other words, because you're not in touch with your essence, right? Doesn't mind if you go to shul. He'll let you go to the biggest shul. And then I heard that. Then another friend of mine told me recently that the Alexander Rebbe said, Yetzer Hara will even let you be a Rebbe and have Hasidim and sit at the table and give them shirayim and so on. It doesn't bother the Yetzer Hara. What bothers the Yetzer Hara, when does the Yetzer Hara battle with you? When you're trying to be in touch with your real essence, with your neshama. Then you're gonna then you'll have struggles, right? But if getting up and davening shachris is nothing more than just standing in front of a wall and davening to the wall, Yetzer Hara doesn't mind. Get up, go ahead, daven. But if you really want to pray, then the Yetzer Hara is going to try to divert you.
Who said that?
The Chidush Harim.
Who did you?
Okay? Mr. Hashem, hope to see you all tomorrow. And Bezrat Hashem.